Hello, everyone, and welcome to Game 1 tonight between No Fear Wolves and Degenerates Reformed. This is going to be our first game in quarterfinals. I'm going to be Camcom, and for Analysis Desk, I'm going to be joined by Metapod's Manatee. How are you doing tonight?
I am doing just great tonight.
We are already a little bit into draft here. We do have a very early Xin Zhao picked. And guess who made it through draft? Viego has made it. He's made it all the way to B2. So No Fear Wolves could be picking him up here.
Definitely really excited to see this the mid jungle duo coming out of No Fear Wolves. It looks like they just locked in the Viego Xin Zhao, and that's going to be terrifying to play against. They'll be very careful in their mid lane, make sure not overextended for that Xin Zhao to come in and take them.
Yeah, locking in Viego so early though, right after Xin Zhao does limit his flex potential, because usually you do pick that Viego early on for the three-way top jungle mid flex, but locking in Xin Zhao does limit it to just that top or mid flex. But Xin Zhao is definitely one of, if not the strongest junglers on the current patch, so locking Xin Zhao, it is a little bit forgivable for limiting that flex. Then Degenerates Reformed locking in very strong but very safe bot lane, that being Zion Braum.
I really want to see them start banning out some supports here. Like the Thresh will probably go to Theophelios and other protective supports along with it. They can really try to punish him down there. They also have a Shen coming in. This is going to be a really great Protect the Xayah comp to help mob carry this game, it looks like.
Yeah, they are so far drafting around that Protect the Xayah comp, which usually you aren't really doing a Protect the Xayah. Usually something like a Kog'Maw or even a Vayne in some circumstances. So locking in a Xayah early on seems like an easy, safe ADC pick. And then if you're starting to draft around it with such heavy tanks, such heavy shielding from Braum and Shen, seems a little bit like they're actually going to be drafting for another role here, whether that is that mid or that potential jungle carry.
Yeah, I find it really curious that Degenerates decided to ban out a bunch of mid laners when the Viego's on there. And I know that Raichu does like to grab some of those picks like that. He plays a lot of Sylas, he's played Lee Sin, and I believe he's played Viego as well. I think they just really want to make sure that Viego ends up going mid lane at this point.
Yeah, that Viego most likely will be going mid with the double mid bans from Degenerates, that being the Victor and the Veigar. And then the Rammus and the Volibear banned away from Degenerates. They did ban Sovereign's apparently now famous Skarner and Rammus that he did play in week 9 there. Just, I guess we kind of cast a curse him a little bit there with those picks, I don't think people were banning it out before we started talking about it, and then we started talking about it, and now, oh no, quarterfinals is going to be banned in every single game. And we've got Trundle locked in as well as Azir and Nautilus.
I really like how they ended up banning the Skarner and the Kai'Sa away from No Fear. Remember when we did our prep against them, like, you look at them and Sovereign, you give him Skarner, they win the game.
Yes.
You can try to pick Trundle into it, you can try to pick other things into his tanks, but they'll, like, it didn't matter. He just finds the ganks, he closes out the game against you. He's a really solid player, and I like to see the respect against that.
It is, and they have decided to R5 Anivia, so that is going to be Degenerates Reformed only AP damage there in the mid lane, and having that egg passive as well makes her a very safe champion with it as well, with the Shen and the Braum, and even a Trundle now could be protecting her. But I'm just very worried about the amount of damage that Degenerates Reformed is lacking here, as really they're relying almost entirely on their Anivia and a little bit on Xayah as well. If she doesn't get ahead on the side, she's not going to be doing that damage. She's just there for CC, and CC hopefully for the Anivia to be doing damage here. But did No Fear Wolves have a lot more damage?
If Mob ends up being a CC bot, they're definitely going to be in trouble for Degenerates. They really need to get him ahead, and I think that's what they're looking to play for here in scale. So we probably won't see a whole lot of action coming out of them early on. If they do end up scaling, I like their odds against No Fear, because they have the core that they love to play. They love to play the Aphelios and the Azir together for this just crazy scaling carries. But then they drafted the Viego top and the Xin Zhao with it to try to give them some early pressure. But if Degenerates can withstand that, I think they have a pretty good chance going into late team fights.
Yeah, they definitely do. Aphelios is one of those ADCs that Gunjan was talking about, definitely being far up there in the meta right now. And we did get to see that clip in the playoffs montage where Epic Fail Guy gets the epic triple kill underneath his tower somehow. And it's like, how did that even happen? You don't even know. It's just Mr. 200 years down there in the bot lane for No Fear Wolves. And combine that with Nautilus as well. You land a hook, they're basically dead, especially on Zion Braum. Yes, Braum does have a lot of disengage with Xayah, but If you land a hook on him, he's usually just dead.
If the Nautilus does go in, he could find himself in trouble because once his Aftershock wears off, he's going to be eating a Braum stun into a Xayah root. If they pull the trigger too early or just not in the great situations, they could be in a lot of trouble. I think the way both these bot lanes like to play, we won't see too much action down there, especially with the sub coming in for Degenerates. But I would like to see them try to punish out of Aphelios because he doesn't have a very defensive support in the Nautilus, and there's a lot of ways to get onto him. But like I said, they might just be trying to scale here because they look uncomfortable with their support, possibly. We'll see.
Yeah, this is actually going to be big sis, on support for Degenerates Reformed. So that is going to be one of their substitutes subbing in for, I do believe it is just game 1. So they will have their regular support for the rest of the games tonight. Whether that's just 2 more games after game 1 or even more, should definitely be helpful. But like we were saying, big sis, not a stranger to Degenerates Reformed. Very comfortable sub. So not really going to be talking about any lack of potential synergy in the spot lane, as you are playing Braum Xayah, very safe lane. You can go on all in on that Aphelios Nautilus, but you probably don't want to. You are just playing for that scaling for your Indivius, that she's the one that's doing the damage.
They're really going to have some crazy zone control in their team fights because there's a Xin Zhao, a Viego, and a Nautilus trying to engage into a Xayah ult, Xayah feathers. There's a Braum wall in their way. There's an Anivia wall in their way. There's a Braum shield, the Anivia Glacial Storm. It's going to be really difficult for them to get on them. But if they can find these crucial Azir Shurima shuffles, though, they might be able to make something happen. But, I don't know, it'll be difficult.
Yeah, it will definitely be very difficult. Wait, am I going crazy? No, I'm not. Yeah, it is Viego top. Why are they hovering Vigar? Is it Vigar locking? No, it is. I don't.
They took a bunch of mid lane bans, and they the Vigar was banned and the Victor was banned. I think he's just taunting him.
Okay, I was confused. I saw a Vigar hover and I was like, wait, is there a Vigar in this game that did I suddenly become blind and think Azir was Vigar? That's something that I would do. But yeah,
they did play it in one of their games leading up to quarterfinals, and then it got banned against them after that.
Yeah, Vigar is definitely a very nice control mage where you click E and that zones off usually an entire team, especially in the river around these super crucial objectives. But again, Azir, very same story, just a little bit harder to execute, like you're saying. He's got to land these Shurima shuffles or else he's not going to be doing a whole lot, especially in the late game if he's not that fed. Azir, not going to be doing a whole lot of damage. He does have a large range advantage here, but into Anivia, most of that is canceled out as they're both such high range mid lane champions there, and both of them are going to be doing a significant amount of the damage. But luckily, Azir does get to be followed up from No Fear Wolves a little bit more with Aphelios and Viego, and even a little bit of Xin Zhao in the late game as well, as they've got a lot more damage, but a lot less protective and disengage.
If there's anyone I trust to pilot that Azir, and it's not many people, I hate seeing Azir in my solo queue games, but Kit Raichu demolished us on it. He's very comfortable on that champion. It suits his style. I'm pretty sure that guy does not miss a CS in lane if he's ever there to collect it, and he's going to do a great job on it, I'm pretty sure.
I am definitely hoping he does. It's like you're saying, Azir, not an easy champion to execute. Definitely why they banned Vigar. They serve a very similar purpose, just Azir, much harder to execute, but he can be a lot more flashy, which is a lot more fun to watch. So him combined with Viego, all he has to do, it's so famous now, you just got to get one reset on this champion and then he goes ham. It's kind of disgusting, especially in these super enclosed fights around these dragons, around these barons, but you've got to get a kill onto what is essentially 4 disengage surrounding an Anivia. So if you're not able to find a kill here, which it does seem very hard to with all of the strong disengage from the side of Degenerates Reformed, then this Viego is not going to have a very good time in lane as he is laning into that Shen top, which, as far as I know, not a great matchup for Viego.
I don't know too much about that matchup specifically. I'd have to ask my top laner. I just ignore that lane. But I could see some windows where if the Shen W is down, it's not a disarm, whatever that is, the field where you can't auto him. Viego definitely need to put some hurt on him, especially depending on what build he goes. If he rushes the Bork, or he could rush Shield Bow as well. We might see Divine Sunderer since they have such a tanky team for Degenerates. It'll be interesting for sure. They'll definitely have a lot of windows to look for picks against them, but it'll be hard with the Shen ult. So they'll probably have to go for the Shen himself and just pick him off where the fight starts, because if they're trying to go into a Deathball Degenerates comp, all 5 of these champions just sitting there, they're going to be in trouble because they're not able to find that Viego reset. Xin Zhao's not going to be able to get in and do anything, and it'll be a tough fight. But the other thing is that they banned 3 mid laners away from Cute Raichu. They didn't ban the Azir. They didn't ban the Aphelios. This is a go-to comp for them. They love to play this comp, and they're super comfortable with it. So even if as hard as it is for them to get in there, I think they're going to be able to make it work.
So with that, which team are you predicting will be taking game 1 tonight?
Just based off the way that Degenerates drafted and that they have to run a sub, I think they're going to drop the first game. I'm excited to see when they get their Just Box back in the lineup, what they'll be drafting then, because there's not much engage coming out of this lineup. And I'm just worried about this comp. I think I'm going to get picked apart by No Fear Wolves.
I am definitely going to be agreeing with you there. I do think that No Fear Wolves does have maybe a little bit harder of an execute comp here, but this is quarterfinals. You're putting everything out on the line here for this best of 5, and I do think that No Fear Wolves will be taking this game 1, and we will be throwing it to a short break here as I will be joining you on the Rift with Gungeon. So don't click anywhere. We will be joining you very shortly with game 1 tonight. Hello everyone and welcome back to game 1 tonight. We have No Fear Wolves versus Degenerates Reformed for one of your quarterfinals match. I'm going to be Camcom and I am joined now by Gungeon. Metapod is unfortunately only staying on analysis desk tonight, and Gungeon has finally arrived, and so far we've just got a solid 5 point from both teams here.
Yeah, you know, I just take a break during analyst desk. I have to get my beauty sleep just so I can get super prepped and hyped for this early game because we're getting some interesting picks on both sides, Cam. We have obviously the comfort for the side of No Fear Wolves, running champions that we've seen all throughout the split with the Viego for Cornstar, Xin Zhao on Skiz, Cute Raichu piloting his famous Azir, and Epic Fail Guy on this Aphelios pick. I told you guys about it's going to be rising throughout the meta. But for the side of Degens, they are on a little bit of comfort. Innovative Picks has picked up the Shen a lot, utilizing him in that global style comp where he's kind of assisting Mob 5. Anivia is a kind of pocket pick for Colbox in that mid lane. He likes to pilot champions like the Ziggs, the Diana, Anivia being one of that tertiary pick. And then Mob 5, obviously on his world famous side, this guy's been dealing so much absolute crazy amounts of damage, kind of rising up the charts on 80 carry damage and kind of CC score and excellency rating, which we all know is the greatest rating of them all. So I'm excited because I think both teams have kind of built out just comfort for game 1 as they are running both teams having sub supports in game number 1.
Yeah, who needs MVP on op.gg when you can have the highest excellency rating in excellency? So, Mob 5 being up there, I do believe it is the only top 5 player that is not on CV Rush. So, that is definitely very high up there. And like we were saying, we did have a little bit of a trade there in the top lane between Innovative Picks and Cornstar. But Innovative Picks, he took a lot of HP, but he is that tanky Shen. And like we were saying before in pre-show, that Shen is one of those global champions that is definitely going to be making a pretty big impact, whether that is in the mid or the bot lane here.
Yeah, the global pressure, especially in mid league, has kind of been rising. Nocturne has become such a power pick, utilizing him in the jungle and in the mid lanes and the solo lanes as well. What I'm excited to see, though, is we've actually watched it, Cam, is going to be that top side. Whenever No Fear Wolves play against any top laner, they always just have a very immediate focus on camping that top side, and especially versus Shen, focusing that global is going to be a really important tactic for them. So I'm excited to see where Skiz goes in that early game, but in terms of just his pressure and his focus, just from seeing it in previous games, I expect top side to be completely focused on and a lot of Rift Heralds to be dropped up there.
A lot of Rift Heralds and a lot of CS so far being denied from Innovative Picks as well. Very unfortunate as he just had a pretty massive wave crashed under his tower with the very nice cheater recall up there from Cornstar very early on for that nice early lead of a call there. Just nice to see Cornstar up there. He was originally a substitute, now is essentially that main roster player for No Fear Wolves, playing very well this early.
Yeah, it's good to see that he's kind of getting the confidence in him. He did struggle laning versus players like Stubby. It is hard. Oh, mid lane a little bit. Colbox going for a little bit of cheese, a little bit of trolling, but doesn't get much as Cute Raichu is able to get away. We are going to see both junglers meet up around that top side scuttle. Bot side scuttle has already been taken by Sovereign, so there's going to be a little bit of fight, but with the pressure from Cornstar on the top side, it should just be Skiz's scuttle crab top side.
Yeah, there was no blabber flashing for first scuttle up top there, as Solver knew he had a little bit of mid pressure. He didn't really have any top pressure as Cornstar was just coming back from that recall, so it would have definitely been a losing fight had he chosen to take it. And having Summoner's Burn for just a first scuttle when he knows he did already pick up that bot scuttle is not going to be very worth for them, as we do have a pause, as it does look like Cornstar is lagging a little bit up there in the top.
Yeah, we have a little bit of pause, and this is going to kind of give us the time to kind of talk about and break down who we favor in these team comps. I think both teams have picked a little bit of just comfort. The team comps obviously do end up working, but they don't kind of synergize as well as we kind of hope. But it is the first best of fives. Both of these teams are kind of trying to feel around these teams because, again, we talked about it. Degens and No Fear haven't met up since week number 1, where it was the old Degens roster. So in terms of just their comfort, their kind of matchup knowledge versus these guys, it's going to be kind of just on hearsay, watching clips, watching replays. So it's going to be hard, and they're just trying to feel them out. In terms of team comps, though, who do you favor, Cam? Do you favor the No Fear kind of comfort, cute Raichu on a Z, or do you favor this kind of global side comp with Innovatives on the Shen and then Mob 5 on his legendary Zaya?
I do favor No Fear Wolves a little bit here in this early game. They are just a little bit ahead here with Skiz on that Xin Zhao, which is just such a classic early, and now a little bit mid-game jungler there as well, whereas Sovereign, you're trying to farm up for 6, and then you're trying to take down a tank, but then you look on No Fear Wolves comp, and you only really see one tank down in the bot lane there, with that being that Nautilus pick. So it is hard for that jungle matchup there for Degenerates Reformed. So even with that, and looking towards Degenerates Reformed comp, where they're lacking a lot of damage, where if Coldbox dies in any of these team fights later on, they're lacking almost all of their damage unless Mob 5 becomes some extremely fed AD carry there in the bot lane.
My big fear for the side of No Fear Wolves and for Degens is that there's not really any kind of divers. Obviously, you do have the Viego and the Xin Zhao that can dive, but for the side of Degens, there's nothing that can really pressure cute Raichu or Epic Fail Guy for them to either stop dealing damage or kind of evacuate a certain zone of the fight. So if it ends up being just 2 hyper carries versus 2 hyper carries, and then you have Xin Zhao Viego messing up Degen's backline, it's going to be hard for Degens to really get damage off, and I don't see a way where Sovereign can really just run into Azir Aphelios without just getting absolutely clobbered, even if he does have Shen on top of him. So it's just going to be hard for Degens to really make those mid-game team fights work, so they're going to have to get either an early game lead or start that dragon stacking, which we've seen be such a prevalent win condition in mid league, and I'm excited to see what the focus is for the side of Degens with this Trundle early game.
Yeah, we have seen large focuses around this first dragon, and that first dragon is spawning in 45 seconds from whenever the game is unpaused, with that being that mountain dragon. So it is nice to see it isn't that cloud where in the early game, ultimate cooldown doesn't really mean a whole lot when you don't even have an ultimate to have a cooldown for it. So having that mountain dragon, and so far having strong mid and bot pressure for Degenerates Reformed, could definitely lead to them having that first early mountain dragon for themselves.
And while we are here, I do want to give kind of a heads up on what's happening on Excellency 2 with Fever versus Bucky's. Right now, it is 10 minutes into the game, with Fever having a 2,000 gold lead, with Your Mad Cute, the new jungler for the side of Fever, getting an early game lead on that Nocturne and starting to snowball. But we are seeing the Seraphine Leona bot lane from Macro Beast and Eben. Eben, I was actually going through his stats. Eben plays 11. He played 11 games of Leona this split. He's played only like 19 games total. So he is a Leona one trick through and through. I'm surprised that the Seraphine bot lane is being picked. It is something that we all talked about in terms of mages in the bot side, but it's going to be interesting to see kind of what that meta ends up breaking it down. Back to this game. We are just still stuck in a pause. I don't believe that... I believe Cornstar was lagging out.
Yeah. He's lagging out because of how good that cheater recall was. He slow pushed 2 waves, crashed on 3rd recall, got a call. It's textbook LS up there in the top lane for him, and then all of a sudden his computer decides he's too good for League of Legends and he's no longer allowed to play. And now Shen is back up about even in CS there, so very unfortunate. It does look like we could be unpausing here in a few minutes if we are gonna hopefully have Cornstar back, and if not, it will unfortunately have to be a 4v5 until he is able to return.
I think he'll be able to get it done, right? Viego's so
I
strong,
hope so.
you know? They say 2021 champions can get anything done. I believe in Viego, and Viego believes in me. Talking about some of the changes, though, we are getting 11.14 tomorrow, which Heavy League will be playing on. Oh, he's back.
Reconnected?
I think he's back. Pause, champ? I believe he is returned. The Messiah of the top side. While we're waiting though, Cam, you've seen the changes, you've seen the patch notes. Anything that stuck out to you? Aurelia changes, Lilia changes. Anything that you believe might be important, especially for Heavy League tomorrow?
Well, I looked at the patch notes. I saw that they were nerfing Karma, and I got very sad because in another league that I'm playing in, I so far have a 100% Karma pick rate. So I am hoping that they aren't nerfing her too hard. It did look like it was only a tiny bit of an AD nerf, which is really not what Karma is known for, is her AD, but hopefully they aren't. It won't be too much hard of an impact on her, as Karma is one of those picks that can be flexed almost technically 4 ways, with that being every role except for jungle, but you don't really usually put her there in the ADC role. She's just such a good early blind pick. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are finally back into game 1.
We are finally back, and nothing's happened. Nothing's changed. Cornstar is just catching a wave up topside. Again, this matchup is more favored around the Viego. Viego's laning has been nerfed, with 11.13 just nerfing down the amount of healing he gets from those minions, but he's still an incredibly strong laner, and actually want to talk about kind of his build diversity. We have seen Viego initially go that, I know that this is something that the tri-stream with the double if sneaky and Meteos have talked about, is that Viego gets baited by the fact that he is the Ruin King, so people feel like you have to build Blade of the Ruin King on him. But he has transitioned from that squishy style assassin to now this bruiser, using Divine Sunder, using Sterix Gauge as second item. So I'm excited to see what the build is for Cornstar. I assume he's going to go that bruiser build, kind of being that dive threat with Skiz in the mid game, but it's going to be interesting to see what his build is in this game number 1.
Yeah, could be that Bork, could be something else. I almost think you only go Bork if you're not very ahead. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but him being a little bit ahead so far, just not maybe enough for it. I mean, he could be going something else, and actually, I could have been wrong, as now it does look like Degenerates Reformed could be looking for this first dragon, but Skiz finding that flash out from Coalbox, as well as popping that passive. Who is going to be picking up this first blood? It will be going down to Cornstar, not even having to burn a single TP. Only one flash from Skiz for both of Coalbox's summoners there for first blood.
And beautiful play by No Fear Wolves. They knew that Cornstar had the prio. He pushes the lane in. It looked like Innovatives probably thought he was taking maybe a cheater recall. He roams down, gets the play onto Nivea. And the biggest important part of that is that Coalbox now has no flash, no TP, so he's not going to be able to join this play. And there's going to be a big fight.
There is a big fight come down here for this first dragon, and that is the first dragon stolen there by Skiz. And now kills coming out. They're trying to find one on the mob fight. One more auto is going to take it down for Epic Fail Guy. And Big Sis having to use both summoners, just trying to walk away.
And it felt like Degens thought they could just force that, because the play had it was basically saying, you guys take a turn mid, we'll take a turn bot side, but
it is not over. Coalbox getting Shurima shuffled there in the mid lane. Skiz able to pick up another kill for himself. Now 1 kill on everyone on the side of No Fear, except for Kayn.
And there's a reason that Cute Raichu's highlight mixtape was just Azir, because his Azir is absolutely clean, saw the opening onto Coalbox, and now it feels like this early game that was kind of going just even has just absolutely exploded, because, again, Degens thought it was kind of just like that, oh, you guys take mid, we'll take dragon, but everybody on the side of No Fear Wolves was ready for the play to happen. Epic Fail Guy with the Gravitum was able to just root every single person in that dragon pit, and they just get absolutely wiped. A 2k gold lead plus Mountain Dragon steal for the side of Skiz, and this early game is completely favored to the side of No Fear Wolves.
Yeah, Degenerates reformed, they lost their mid laner, and then they tried to take that first dragon for themselves, not having any mid lane pressure and having Bixus still trying to walk back to lane from a recall, just trying to two-man an early dragon with just a Trundle and a Xayah there. Not going to have enough damage to burst it, and then just to add even more pain is getting it stolen away from Skiz and losing two members of your team for it. It's just everything going wrong for Degenerates reformed, and now they have to play it from a 2k gold deficit.
And they still do have the ability to scale. Again, Coldbox, as long as he doesn't get targeted even more, can just farm up, stack up that tier, become that long-range control mage that we all know and love from Anivia. So they have kind of the tools to just hold out. But this early game has been such great play from Skiz and Cute Raichu, just making things happen. And these were kind of the star members that I think everyone was talking about in terms of what changed between No Fear Wolves from Spring Split over to Summer Split, as we see more fighting in the top side.
Oh man, we've got another Shurima Shuffle as well as Stand United coming down onto Sovereign. They're trying to turn this back around to Cute Raichu, finding the flash. One more auto will pick it up for innovative picks there, but now Sovereign immediately taking down another kill, going down to Cornstar. Innovative picks. Unfortunately, Coldbox knows he's got no passive, got no damage. Another pick coming out for Skiz.
They try to go on Cute Raichu. Sovereign uses his ulti onto Q, and they use everything, but it's just... when you, again, you focus all of that damage onto the Azir there, but Cornstar and Skiz were just able to just... Sorry. Oh, Jesus. My point is gone. Sorry. But yeah. They focus all their damage onto Cute Raichu, but Cornstar and Skiz were just able to just slice up every single member there. They end up taking the Trundle Ghost as well, and the damage is just way too much. And now this kind of... again, that early game lead that we were talking about, that 2,000 gold lead has ballooned up to 3,000, as well as the Rift Herald being picked up onto Skiz, and this is going to be dropped topside. Again, No Fear Wolves have this identity, especially after the addition of Cornstar, where again, they play Epic Fail Guy and now Kane in the bot side as just scalers. They're going to do their role, they're going to deal the damage in the mid-game team fights, but they really try to focus on that top side and get Cornstar ahead so he can really just take over, because he plays the map incredibly well. His laning is sometimes suspect. He's struggled versus players like Subby and versus Fognuggler, but he does play the map incredibly well, especially that split push style, which we've seen rewarded with those inner tower gold changes.
Yeah, and so far he is definitely rewarded with currently a 15 CS lead and 2-0-1 up there with just a 150 shutdown so far, but could definitely be growing if they are going to be throwing that Rift Herald top like you are predicting. And I'm definitely predicting too is now Sovereign. You're looking for a gank in the mid lane, but unfortunately not knowing where the jungler or the support is definitely is going to result in a kill going down. Who's going to be it is Cute Raichu going to be picking up his second kill of the game. Such a strong comfort pick for him on that Azir. Maybe not the flashiest of kills right there, but definitely having some more gold in his pocket towards his first mythic item. Gonna be very powerful, as unfortunately Sovereign, not the best gank angle.
And this is the struggle that Degens are falling into. It's that they don't have priority topside, they don't have priority mid side, and it feels like Kane is always roaming to these plays earlier than Vixis is able to. And so anytime Sovereign walks anywhere outside of his jungle camps, he's just in threat of constantly getting jumped, constantly getting picked off. And this is the struggle when you pick basically losing lanes all around the board. They're just struggling. They're kind of falling behind, and somebody on the side of Degenerates Reformed needs to kind of latch onto the cliff, because they're falling down that mountainside really quickly, because it is now a 4,000 gold lead. Skiz has already picked up the Gore Drinker. First item completed on Cute Raichu, and as this dragon spawns in about as this dragon has spawned, sorry, this is going to just be Ocean Dragon over to the side of No Fear Wolves, and they're going to set up a 22-minute soul timers if everything goes as it is right now.
Yeah, that is going to be a 22-minute Infernal Soul timer as well, so not even a Cloud Soul. Very rough for Degenerates Reformed if they are giving away that Ocean Soul or even an early Infernal Soul. But on the other hand, if they are able to pick up 3, even 4 Infernal Dragons for themselves, that just makes that Infernal Soul even more impactful, as the Rift Herald actually is going to be throwing it down in the mid lane here, trying to get Cute Raichu even more ahead on this Azir than he already is, as he has already picked up that Leanders as well as the Gore Drinker on Skiz, and now Vixis forced to flash away as he's just trying to get some wards down in the jungle.
Yeah, Bixis was in the wrong neighborhood right there. He just walked up into Skiz and Skiz said, huh? Question. They are going to drop the Rift Herald mid just to get that influx of gold into Cute Raichu, mainly because Cornstar has actually been completely freezing out Innovative picks in the top side. Anytime Innovative is walking up here, he's pretty much just putting himself in danger, and they feel like they don't want to break that lane state up too quickly. Vix is not having flash.
Oh no, Vixis, you're still trying to go for wards, man. And luckily, you do have Sovereign there. He is trying to save him, and luckily that Blast Cone is also there to save him. And not having to burn flash again, where he doesn't even have that Hex Flash available on this Braum. So he's just forced to run away and hope he has a team. Luckily, he did have one there that time. And we could be having a 1v1 here in the top lane, as Cornstar is definitely very far ahead of Innovative picks. He could be looking for these potential outplay solo kills, but Cornbox is actually going to be forcing that flash out from Raichu in his own little bit of an isolated 1v1 there in the mid lane.
Yeah, Q Raichu was looking for something onto Colbox. He's not going to be...
Oh,
close.
No! It unfortunately misses onto Colbox. One more auto. Actually, the burn from Leanders will be popping that passive from Colbox, and Sovereign is just able to walk away being so tanky on that Trundle.
Yeah, Q Raichu is able to play this aggressively just because he has such a item lead over Colbox. Skiz might be caught out here.
Oh no, Skiz trying to find his invade onto the chickens. He does force that flash and that smite out with that healing, is trying to run away, but it's not going to be enough. That is shut down, going down to Sovereign, and they could be looking to continue that chase on the Cornstar, but Viego is just so mobile, it is so hard to catch him.
Yeah, No Fear Wolves is playing a little bit lax and a little bit loose right now as they're just trying to make solo plays all around the map. They don't have to. Their team is hyper scaling up. They have this freeze up in the top side that has just locked Innovative picks into a CS deficit right now, sitting at a 40 CS deficit. And so they're playing aggressively, but they don't have to because, again, they have the Dragon Soul timer. They have Epic Fail Guy just hyper scaling in the bot side. He has never been attacked. He's just been able to farm up. And so they're just taking unnecessary risks. They're able to because of the gold lead they have. But again, if you keep taking these plays, you're giving the enemy team a window back into the game. So it's one of those situations where, again, Degenerates Reform might not punish you, but when you go into that next round versus DCA or versus CB Rush, they will be teams that will punish you whenever you give them a little bit of an inch into the game.
Even a little bit of an inch could be enough to find that game-winning fight. And so far, like you're saying, No Fear Wolves is up 4,000 gold still. It has stayed at 4,000 gold for just a few minutes now, so it hasn't gone any bigger for Degenerates Reformed, luckily. But they have lost 2 dragons. They have now also lost 2 Rift Heralds. That second Rift Herald could be thrown either mid or top just to find that even more pressure, as Kane has even roamed up here just to make sure that they are securing it. And whether it is thrown mid or top could be showing which laner they are preferencing, whether that is at a 0 or that Viego. Both of them definitely very fed. They do both have their mythics, and it just is going to be depending on where they want to be throwing even more gold towards.
And I love this playstyle from the side of No Fear Wolves. They roam their support up. Braum isn't able to kind of just be ahead of the play, roam the play in, and now mid lane tower is...
Oh no! The hook being cancelled by the wall on Kane. Kane's just forced to flash. You've got the wall there from both Colbox and Sovereign being dropped, and yeah, can't walk away from that. There's no chance.
You get the second charge off, so they get some extra tower damage. And again, Mob 5, this Xayah Braum bot lane isn't able to really attack the Aphelios at all, really. So he's just going to be able to kind of just farm out. Oh.
But now Skiz is also going to be caught out by that Trundle pillar, as well as the wall, not allowed to move whatsoever. Sovereign being able to pick up that shutdown as well for himself. Very, very powerful on this Trundle. Is definitely going to have enough gold here to recall for his mythic. But unfortunately, this second or third dragon even is spawning here in 5 seconds with no jungler available for No Fear Wolves. Does definitely look like that this dragon will be going to Degenerates Reform, delaying that soul timer by 5 minutes. Could be absolutely huge for these scaling picks like Colbox and Mob 5, where you're just trying to get... Oh my gosh, I spoke too soon. Never mind. Q Raichu. Finding that steal over the wall.
I didn't want to say anything, Kim, because it's one of those situations where you're like, I might jinx them, but I could just...
I'm never going to speak again, man.
Oh no! I was gonna just talk about how cataclysmic it was that now that the soul timer is delayed, it feels like No Fear Wolves are just playing too fast and too loose, getting caught out by these terrain blocking abilities. But Cute Raichu is able to steal the Infernal Dragon, and at 22 minutes, the rubber's gonna have to meet the road because again, Degens will have to contest that Infernal Dragon timer, and with just the laning CS leads now that everyone on the side of No Fear Wolves possesses, they're going to be hitting those 2-item breakpoints. So it's going to be really difficult to fight. That was a crucial dragon miss by the side of Savern. We don't see it often, but it's going to be incredibly costly because now what it felt like was kind of a window back into the game for the side of Degens is now just a dooming kind of doomsday clock in 4 minutes.
2 of these 3 dragons for No Fear Wolves have been stolen from Degenerates Reformed, so it's not like they haven't been in the right place for these dragons. They just haven't really had the proper vision set up. I think the first dragon, they didn't even have Sovereign there to have Smite available. As now, Innovative picks, he's going to be collapsed on the top lane as Colbox teleporting in on this Anivia. They want to turn this back around. They do still have that shutdown available on Cornstar if they are able to turn this, but now it's a 2v3. Kane has walked up here as well as Colbox is forced to flash away, and Innovative Picks is able to use that taunt to run away. And if they do want to continue this play, they could be looking to go back on the Colbox as he does not have flash anymore, and it does look like a lot of members are roaming up to this top river if they are continuing this play.
And that was one of those situations where like Colbox TPs and you're like, oh my god, it's a TP, and they're like, oh wait, it's an Anivia TPing. Guys, I don't think that really matters. As Colbox he's just dead.
No, the Heartbreaker comes out, does so much damage to Colbox. He does luckily have this passive available, and I didn't even know you could do that, but apparently you can use a shuttle on an Anivia passive, so that's going to keep him alive. As Skiz, once again, is actually going to be missing that Smite. I was going to say once again finds the Smite Steal, but that was actually Sovereign with the Smite Steal, so...
But there, again, they end up wasting, or they end up using blowing Cornstar's flash, but you use the Shen ulti. Colbox had to use TP plus flash for the initial play, and the only thing that's ringing in my head is just like, when Colbox is TPing, it's like, you're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. Because you see the TP and your immediate mind's like, let's run away, but the Anivia TP is not as strong as any of these other TPs that we see on the map. So it's one of those situations where Colbox ends up dissuading the play, but overall it's advantage for the side of No Fear Wolves as more cooldowns were burned for the side of Degens. As Dragon, again, that 2-minute timer in 2 minutes, Infernal Soul will be up as they are prepping all around that bot side river. It feels like everyone's taking their final resets, just getting the prep ready for that bot side play. And right now, Cam, if you're having to kind of bet your money on it, what can Degenerates Reform do to really contest this dragon? Because right now it feels like they're right on the edge of this game. Because if this Infernal Soul goes over to the side of No Fear Wolves, I don't see a way that Degens could come back.
They do definitely need to contest it. I think they need to have this mid wave and this bot wave pressuring underneath those towers for No Fear, so they are forced to respond to one of those waves. Could potentially make it a 4v5 for Degenerates, but they do need to force these waves in, and so far it is only the mid or bot wave. The mid wave is still in the middle of that lane there, and not being able to really find the pick before this dragon either, making it just a 5v5 is going to be very hard, as currently Degenerates still down 3,000 gold. Gonna be just trying to match No Fear for a straight on 5v5 is going to be very rough for them unless they're able to find some extreme outplay. And now you can see No Fear, they just have to walk around this river. They still got 45 seconds left on this dragon spawn timer, but they don't really have to do anything for these 45 seconds, as having that almost uncontestable Infernal Soul for themselves is going to be so nice. As now Vixis, you see he's trying to get this vision here, and he could have almost been caught out. Skiz knows he does so much damage, but also does not know where the rest of Degenerates Reformed members are, as now Skiz once again trying to find this engage on the Vixis. Innovative Picks going in, looking for that taunt, not able to find it. No teleports coming in. Innovative Picks has already fallen now to Epic Fail Guy, trying to find another pick there into the bot lane, as that was, again, just one pick, all they need, and now No Fear able to take this uncontested Infernal Soul.
I'm not blaming Mob 5, but where was he in that fight? It felt like he was just kind of not on the same script as his team, as he just isn't contesting. He's not there to deal any of the damage or give Bixes kind of a way out. Bixes ends up getting caught, and now this is Infernal Soul for the side of No Fear Wolves. And again, it's only a 4,000 gold lead, but the kind of stats, the hidden stats that Infernal Soul gives you is so kind of backbreaking that this is going to be a really tough back for the side of Degenerates Reform.
Oh no, Skiz is actually the one that's going to be caught out there as he's forced to flash, and that 5-minute timer could be pretty huge for Degenerates if they are able to capitalize it on having that jungler down, especially at this point in the game. Soul has already fallen now. Eyes are just turned to that Baron, and that Elder will be spawning in a few minutes. But first, we gotta fight for this Baron, which I'm sure will be happening in just a few minutes.
I think the real strength for the side of No Fear Wolves with this Infernal Soul pickup is going to be Cornstar in the side lane. Now with this Infernal Soul damage, there's nobody that can really meet him down the side lane. So they're going to have to kind of do this interesting idea of rotating Innovative and Cole to just try to clear out waves and try to hold Cornstar as long as possible. But we know the power of Viegos, especially when he's sitting on the 2 items, and now the Infernal Soul. So it's going to be a really tough out for the side of Degenerates Reform, whoever they end up setting down there, because there's just a probability that Cornstar just kills you down there.
Yeah, there definitely is. Cornstar is still very fed on this Viegos. Looks like it's only 202 right now, but he does have 2.5 items on him. So that is definitely way above Innovative picks, only sitting at 1.5 items currently for himself on that Shen, where usually you don't really need items on a Shen, but when you are that main, or not even one of the main disengages for your team, you do need those items just to make sure that your shield is that much better and your taunt is that much stronger. And now you can see they do have a little bit of control over this Baron pit for Degenerates Reform, but you're not able to walk out past that red buff wall at this point. As you don't have vision, you don't know where these members are. And now Cornstar, like you're saying, could be looking for this 1v1 onto Innovative picks. He knows he doesn't win it. He's trying to use that taunt just to run away, but a few more autos will be traded before he does decide to walk away. And now we do have this Baron being taken. Innovative picks not here. Cornstar not here either. He does have that standing knight available, but they don't even really want to go for a steal, as that is just going to be the Baron take for Q Raichu, as not even a smite needed. No Fear Wolves taking that first early Baron.
Yeah, they don't coin flip it, but I feel like it was a D6 dice roll almost to see if that Baron was going to go for the side of No Fear Wolves. They do end up picking it up, and now with the Baron, now with the Infernal Soul, they're just going to be able to siege whichever tower they want, with the tower changes as well, which happened in 11.13. Inner towers giving now 250 local gold. Whenever you break that inner line, it is such a massive gold injection. So this gold lead that we've seen kind of sit at that 4 to 6k mark is just going to break open, as Baron has been picked up for the side of No Fear Wolves. The big thing I wanted to talk about was going to be kind of that bot lane matching of the split push. Obviously, Cornstar is caught out. That's what he is.
He is definitely going to be very caught out, as he is forced to use that Heartbreaker very early on. No damage from it, as he is still burning in that E passive there. And he's not going to take that much damage because the Heartbreaker does just give him the extra dash as if he didn't need enough. But having to use it for just disengage for himself, definitely not what you want when you are one of those fed members for your team.
Yeah, they have the 3 members mid lane, so they're just having the 2 carries just try to hold this top lane inner tower. This is a interesting strategy by the side of Degenerates Reform, because they could be looking for some sort of flank with Innovatives and Sovereign.
Yeah, there is all 5 members up here for Degenerates. Raichu isn't even here as Innovative Picks finds that pick down onto Skiz. Mob 5 picked up his first kill of the game. TP coming in on the top side from Cornstar, but Bixis has already been taken out. 2 man Shurima Shuffle coming out from Raichu. 2 kills being picked up right there. Now Mob 5 and Coldbox, they've already lost the fight. They've already lost their HP bars. That's the passive being popped from Coldbox. And Mob 5 gonna find a few more auto attacks. He still does have that Featherstorm available, but not enough CC. Another kill going down to Kane as well, and that is the 4 for only 1 in favor of No Fear Wolves.
And this should just be inhibitor line, at least for the side of No Fear Wolves. What a team fight. It felt like Sovereign or Innovative Picks got a good Shen taunt onto both Skiz and to Kane, but there just wasn't enough damage. They just couldn't walk in. Cornstar had the TP flank as well, and Q Raichu gets a massive Shurima Shuffle just obliterating the comp of Degenerates Reformed, and now with a 12,000 gold lead, with 2 inhibitors broken open, with the Infernal Soul, No Fear Wolves are just sign, sealing, and delivering this game for their org.
Yes, taking both that top inhibitor and the mid inhibitor and 4 kills for yourselves, for No Fear Wolves, absolutely huge.
And it looks like we are going to be able to see a replay of that top lane fight. Cam, look at this play as Innovative's picks. Again, he gets the taunt onto 2 members. It looks like they burst out Skiz, but Cornstar TP, as well as Cute Raichu on that bot side, gets a massive Shurima shuffle into 2 members, killing them off instantly. And the backline can just never participate at the team fight, as we are seeing another fight over this Elder
We
Dragon.
do have another fight, as it does look like Cute Raichu already finding that pick down onto Vixis, and now the rest of the members of Degenerates Reformed are just forced to run away, as they've already lost their top, they've already lost their support, and now, just 5 seconds before this Elder, having no members available except for Coldbox, just a little bit of damage there on that Anivia. Unfortunately, not enough to be able to turn a fight on for himself, and that's just going to be the Elder take for the side of No Fear.
And Degenerates Reformed had to just go for it. They had to go for that Hail Mary, try and contest with before they just ended up losing their Nexus turrets, but there's just not enough damage. And the big problem this game has been that Coldbox and Mob 5 just can't get into range. Cute Raichu's just zone control and damage he deals with the Azir sitting on the 3 items has just been such a massive thorn in their side, as they keep trying to walk in, but there's just not enough space to deal the damage, and they just keep getting wiped out. And Cornstar is such a massive frontline take. They have the root.
They've got the root, they've got the Elder buff, they find the pick almost on Innovative picks, the burn coming out from Raichu with that Leander. He's finding 2 picks for himself as well as that bot inhibitor. No inhibitors left for Degenerates Reformed. They're just got their Nexus towers now. Just a few more auto techs would be fighting that. Skiz is going to be stunned up under that tower. Coldbox able to pick up 1 kill for himself, the first kill of the game for Coldbox on that Anivia, but then immediately being taken down. Epic Fail Guy finding 1 for himself, but immediately giving his shutdown back over to Coldbox. Very unfortunate, as now it is a 2 for 5, but that is 2 members that are easily able to pick up the end of this game and the first victory in this best of 5 for No Fear Wolves.
And at 29 minutes and 40 seconds, No Fear Wolves pick up a... Oh my god, everything just exploded on my screen. No Fear Wolves pick up a dominant win over Degenerates Reformed. They controlled the early game. They controlled those big early game dragon team fights, and they just were able to snowball so quickly. And you saw the players that needed to perform, the players that we kind of had some question marks on, with Cornstar on the top side performing incredibly well, and Cute Raichu and Epic Fail Guy just giving that consistency we always expect from that mid lane and AD position.
Yeah, Cute Raichu and Skiz and even Cornstar up there in the top lane, they found such early leads for themselves and early leads on these champions that even aren't supposed to. Maybe Xin Zhao a little bit, but especially Xin Zhao and Viego, they're supposed to be playing for that mid to late game team fights, and so early kills for themselves, especially on these scaling picks such as Coldbox, where they were relying on Coldbox for him to scale up and do the damage that they needed in the late game team fights, and him only finding his first kill underneath the Nexus towers at the very end of the game. Not what Degenerates Reformed drafted this comp for, so it fell apart very early on for them.
Yeah, it just felt like, especially after the Coldbox ended up blowing his flash, after he ended up blowing his TP and still ended up dying to the Skiz ganks, he just wasn't able to really control that mid side. And at that point, Cute Raichu was just unlocked to make plays around the map. He was able to get that Dragon Steal, which we thought was incredibly crucial because it set that timer locked at that 24 minutes mark, and there just wasn't enough kind of cohesion on the side of Degenerates Reformed to make that final Hail Mary contest. And after that, it was just kind of a foregone conclusion that we saw a little bit of trolling for the side of No Fear Wolves, but they got the job done in the end.
They got the job done. They got the 4 dragons, half of them being stolen, not even by the jungler Cute Raichu picking himself up 1 there, as well as the Baron. He didn't even have to smite that one. Also for Cute Raichu, as we will be going to a short break here before we go into game 2, as I will be joined by the legendary Metapods Manatee on the analysis desk once again before next game. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back with you for game 2 tonight.